Donnie Dump has lost it. He has now let some words come out of his mouth that he cannot hide. And he is collapsing, retreating in embarrassment, which feels like a win for us because we don't really get breaks very often. But he was caught making a disturbing admission, totally unhinged admission about a fantasy he has. And it is probably his most vile one yet. And we've heard a lot of vile fantasies from this man, but he has been caught with a disturbing request involving a threesome and family members. He's gone too far. Donald Trump took the stage. And as we've all come to expect, the question at this point isn't whether it's going to get weird. It's what flavor of weird are we going to get this time? This time, the flavor of weird is what I would call Kentucky. Very Kentucky, the flavor, if I had to guess. And we know that lately he's been doing anything and everything to distract from the millions of Epstein files we still don't have. And everything and anything includes turning the reflecting pool into a deflection pool full of algae, a new habitat for Stephen Miller to dwell in, his little Millerisms, just down there munching on algae and then coming up for air and molting and retreating back into the sewer. And then RFK Jr., I'd imagine, is bottling it up and injecting it to himself or into the roadkill, his recent collection. And then the best part of it all is we know that Trump is, of course, blaming it on Joe Biden. And, of course, he's turned the National Mall into an absolute fucking circus. But, you know, in a time of trade-offs, at least he's been a little less bomby than usual. I mean, what a time. Since we as a nation are just so beaten down by the antics of this addled man in power, it's really hard for us to have a reaction to anything he says or does anymore. We already know that Donald Trump has a long history of making people very uncomfortable with the way he talks about people, about women, or whenever the camera pans to his cankles or his rotting orange hand, just rotting flesh. Ugh. But you know, as we often say here on LPTV, every Trump speech is a game of where is this going? And the answer is usually somewhere no one asked to go. And real quick, if you're new here, I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra is right beside me being a cute baby angel. We've been dealing with some pancreatitis. My sweet girl, just want to tap her little belly. And we're going to give you a quick warning that Stephen Miller has once again breached. He's breached containment for what some people are counting as like the 7th time this week. He's curled up inside the insulation somewhere in somebody's walls, and he's whispering about immigration policy, about not letting pregnant women into this country. And he's doing this in the drywall, so it's very muffled. It's more muffled than you normally hear. He normally speaks like he's got a mouthful of marbles, but now it's even extra muffled. So your only way of staying safe is to subscribe. Leave us a comment, 6 words or more. Stay safe. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, etc. We're here every single day producing this solo, independent, network free at a pure principle. Drywall can only handle so much, so be safe out there. So Trump had a conversation about good old Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, incredible. I even had a conversation with Theodore Roosevelt. I said, what did you think about the Panama Canal? Do you consider that your greatest achievement? How do you feel about the fact that the Democrats gave the Panama Canal away to Panama for $1?
Teddy Roosevelt died in 1919. Trump was born in 1946. So this man is hallucinating, having a little acid trip. We don't know. Even the speech had no idea what the speech was about anymore.
On July 4th, it's going to be approximately 107 degrees out. And I'm going to go and I'm going to make a really long speech just to show that I can do anything. It's going to be 107.
Oh, great. He's warning about it being 107 degrees out, and he's going to make a really, really, really long speech. He's just going to filibuster until he just fades into the darkness. He doesn't even know what he's saying anymore. He literally doesn't even know what's coming out of his mouth. And the weird part is that this wasn't even the weird part, because 5 minutes into the speech, even the speech had no idea what he was talking about anymore. And then let's see what JD Vance had to say on this glorious day.
It's amazing to be here. You know what I'm thinking as I'm coming down the steps is don't fall and bust your ass in front of all of you and in front of all these cameras, because they would never let me live that one down. You know, the previous president, I'm trying to be nonpartisan. You ever seen these old cartoons where you've got the angel on the shoulder and the devil on the shoulder? Well, because I'm speaking to all of you, our great patriots and service members, I've got the angel on my shoulder saying, JD, don't be partisan. We're going to make this nonpartisan. And then I've got the devil on my shoulder who wants to talk about every time that Joe Biden fell up or down the stairs. And the media didn't care about that, but if I did it one time, it would be a major, major story.
That didn't land. JD Vance has no riz. I've said it before. That man is the antithesis of riz. That's why he probably lost his virginity to a couch. But like, come on, JD Vance. Look at all these straight-faced soldiers. None of them could even crack a smile. They're just like, ugh, this man is so annoying and weird. And him and his wife have never even seen each other nude. It's fell very flat. I would imagine it fell as flat as Mitch McConnell on his final tumble. So it's impressive how often JD Vance manages to come in lower expectations and then still manage to miss said expectations. And just when you think you've seen the worst of the worst, it's like he treats it like a challenge.
But what we must never do is drop bombs just for the sake of dropping bombs. And that is what the president will never ask you to do. He'll ask you to go to war, yes, but when he asks you to go to war, he'll tell you exactly what you're going for. And I think that is what you should expect out of your political leadership.
Israel. Everyone knows it's only for Israel. That's right. And let's look at some of these responses. Dear soldiers, get ready. You're going to die for Israel. And it's a photo of Trump shaking hands with soldiers, scrolling down. Oh, God, make America great again. And it's a bunch of soldiers going into a red hat and coming out in caskets covered in a American flag. Fucking sad. Again, just when you think it can't get any worse, these two men treat it like a challenge. Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And it's a picture of Trump dressed as that soldier character. I don't know, Disney movies. Anyway, listen, I promised you guys some weird, and I believe we've delivered on some weird. This is the main course right here of weird. Thanks to President of the United States.
They're the only father and son pair to receive our nation's highest military award for courage above and beyond the call of duty. Now, as I see my two beautiful sons sitting there, I think I'm going to give one to myself, one to them, and we'll have a threesome, okay? I'll pick out one of the two. I'll give them the Congressional Medal of Honor for something, for their genius at hunting, and I'll get one for taking on Russia, or something.
He really said that. He really said, I don't know if I'm allowed to say for dropping to your knees, so I'll just say Russia, Russia instead. This man is nuts. Could you imagine if Kamala Harris said anything like that? Could you imagine if Barack Obama said anything like that? Trump said that. He graced North Dakota, which is not the same as South Dakota, the land of Kristi Noem and the dog killers. But he did this. His presence was there to celebrate the opening of the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. Naturally, he used that moment to talk about himself and how he believes to be deserving of the Medal of Honor and that he would give it to both of his sons. Then he looked at Don Jr. and Eric and decided that the legacy that they should have would be that of a threesome, handing the nation's highest military honor to himself and his children, who have never served a fucking day. He's a draft dodger. And then he just put a cherry on top. He said, we'll have a threesome. He explained that his sons earned the prestigious combat medal for their genius at hunting animals, which is, makes sense if you're in North Dakota, nearby to South Dakota, land of Kristi Noem. And then he deserved it for his involvement in the Russia. Then he covered his tracks by claiming it was all a joke, lamenting that he had learned the hard way not to use sarcasm in politics. I am going to go touch some grass now, as I would recommend you all do too. But yeah, prepare for some draft dodging, prepare for some incestual garbage from the president and some more jokes. And I hope you guys all find some peace somewhere this weekend coming up on America's birthday, because there's no way to celebrate like not consuming Trump content for like a couple minutes. I'm going to do my best to prepare you guys some good stuff so we can hang out throughout the weekend because it's coming up soon. And anyway, again, I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra is snoozing. She's been having some tummy drama, so we're going to keep giving her lots of love and taking good care of her. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. I am Lauren P. We produce this entirely independent and network free. So sometimes you guys are going to get ads, and I know sometimes you get a little bit mad at me for the ads, but I just have to let you know, Willa is an expensive, uninsured dog. She was adopted as an adult. We have bills. So bear with us. We are so appreciate you watching. We so appreciate you holding us to the highest level of integral standards. And again, we'll be back with more.